Remember when you were a kid, you were going to the water park, you were so excited to go on the water slide. You've been preparing for this day mentally to go down that water slide you've been looking forward to your whole life. You've waited hours upon hours in line, watching the guy in front of you scratch his butt nonstop. And finally, you make it on top that last step, and the lifeguard stops you. And they pull out a measuring tape, and you just fell 2 inches short. This is gonna be some sad news for some guilds that were looking forward to brand new PvE content. Maybe it's for good reason or not, but that whole story I gave you at the beginning, it's kind of the same thing. You're at the finish line, you're ready to start the ride, and all of a sudden they're like, you're not tall enough to do the Geonosis Territory Battles ride. So it looks like they're gonna be doing a temporary ban essentially on guilds until they reach a certain threshold to enter into this brand new Geonosis Territory Battle. All right, so I have kind of mixed feelings about this. I kind of understand about 30% of the way why they want to do this, but the 70% of me is like, I don't know. I think people are going to be missing out quite a lot. I think people should go in there, struggle, and at least try to do as little as they can so they can get at least some sort of currency. So in general, if you want the quick short sum of it all, basically if your guild is not 80 million GP, you're not going to be able to get into this Geonosis Territory Battle and even bother trying. They're not even going to let you have the chance at doing so. And I have a very there's a lot of controversy surrounding this. I think I'll share my thoughts in a second, but that's the main thing. If you can't make it longer than a minute into the video, that's all you got to know. Well, let's talk more about the specifics here. First, they decided early on in the development process of Geonosis that they would be running Geonosis concurrently with Hoth battles, basically two territory battles happening at once. They weighed the pros, they weighed the cons of running them back to back versus running them concurrently, and ultimately they decided that they didn't want to ask guilds to engage in such heavy coordination exercises in addition to the territory war coordination. If we have territory battles every day, you'll end up overlapping with territory wars, which could be exhausting. Territory wars, I mean, shout out to my guild and a lot of other guilds out there, the people that manage the strategy. There's a lot that goes into strategizing, planning what you're going to put in territory wars, looking at the opposing guild's roster and whatnot. There's a lot of work that goes in for competitive territory war gameplay. I mean, another argument for having things happen staggered is that you'll have something to do every single day. There's always a territory battle to do every single day. If they did a Hoth battle and then a Geonosis battle and whatnot, but having them put together, you're gonna get a big payout if you could do both of those events. So there's pros and cons to it all, but I think ultimately having it where territory war isn't overlapping with territory battles might be the most logical thing to do, because there is a lot of planning going into territories. That is definitely true. And here comes the tough news that we're gonna start talking about. They've already kind of alluded to this already in the past a little bit in some interviews, as well as some posts they've already put out. Geonosis Territory Battles is supposed to be very, very difficult, and that's kind of understandable, seeing that they're pushing the gear gate to gear 13, and they probably are tuning this more to like gear 11, gear 12 plus maybe, like minimum, and then gear 13 potentially for those later stages. And as the game ages and rosters become more developed, we want to continue to push the challenge of our end game content and give you the opportunity to use your best squads in challenging PvE scenarios. As such, Geonosis has a fairly steep difficulty curve heading into later phases and later encounters. We had concerns that if we generally let any guild go in and participate, and there's no way to abandon a territory battle like a raid, that guilds could get stuck participating in an event for days that they are in no way able to do anything material. I don't know, I think that's where my opinion differs a little bit. Let's keep reading here. It's important to note that Geonosis is shorter than Hoth, and Hoth is a 7-day event and Geonosis is a 4-day event, so the content is tougher and more demanding, but we've made it shorter to offset some of the intensity. Geonosis correspondingly also only has 33 stars due to its short length, each star being much harder to earn. I'm gonna bite my tongue, hold my opinion for a few more seconds here. Let's finish reading this. In short, a guild must have 80 million GP. Number is largely final, but we are still testing it, so this could change. This could go up, this could go down, this could stay the same, so subject to change if needed across its members to participate in Geonosis. We believe that guilds at this level will be able to check out the map and obtain a couple stars. While that is the minimum level of GP a guild needs, and we want guilds of different GP levels to participate, players at that level will find it very, very challenging. In alignment with our goals to continue to provide more and more challenges changes, we expect guilds will be acquiring significantly fewer stars than they do on Hoth, and that number will rise as they plan and strategize. And by giving a specific "you must be this tall," we hope that it cultivates the conversation within the guilds to something more directed. So they're going to come back with some more information later on. They're eager to hear your questions and all that stuff. And Geonosis is intended to be an aspiration for guilds to band together, strive for the toughest content, and get the best rewards. This is already true of the Hoth and Sith raids, but we also wanted to see if we could help focus a guild towards what the end game looks like. So I understand where they're getting at right here. There's probably a couple arguments. Let's just kind of play devil's advocate for a second as to why this might be a good thing. First of all, let's just take their argument they kind of laid out right here. They want to pretty much give you a realization event for your guild that, hey, maybe we got to start getting a plan together. Let's start planning together. Let's figure out what we all should be farming at the same exact time. Because if people are just doing their own thing, lollygagging, not having a core goal that the guild can kind of follow, it's hard for a guild to kind of grow and start attacking much harder content, especially if they want to keep pushing the envelope. If your guild's not going to band together, which is one of the most important things in order to move forward as a guild and progress your roster, get better characters, get better gear, you guys need to sit down, focus on characters that help you beat raids better, that help you beat territory battles better, in a much more efficient manner. So that's kind of argument number one, that, hey, you guys got to sit down. If you can't do this type of stuff, you guys got to come up with a plan. So it's probably a good thing to kind of motivate you, push you to start actually being more, to coordinate with your guild more. The other argument that I could make possibly that I don't know if I can quite buy myself is that they kind of talked about a bit, like kind of like you're stuck if you don't have the roster in your guild to take on this event. They act like as if you're trapped, you can't do anything, and like it's I don't know if I quite buy that, because at least you can try. You can kind of dip your foot in and be like, wow, this is difficult. This is definitely difficult. Because if you don't engage in the event, you don't quite understand what challenge is up ahead. And even if you're at 80 million GP, who knows? Maybe that's still not good enough if you don't have the right characters. You need to know what the right characters are, what characters you need to farm and gear up and whatnot. So I think at the minimum, they should just allow the guilds to go in there and dip their foot in the water, and just, if they sit there for 4 days not getting anywhere, at least they know what they need to do, and they could still work on Hoth territory battles, since that is going to be happening simultaneously. And the other upside is you could be under 80 million GP. What if your team has just a ton of Jedi Knight Revens, Gear 12 plus? You guys have a super focused guild with super focused rosters that have zero fat in them. You don't level up any stupid characters. You could be more efficient than an 80 million GP, and you could very well maybe nag a few stars of Geonosis Territory Battles. Of course, I'm just guessing. I haven't actually played the event. That might not be possible at all. But if you can at least get a couple of stars, you're getting some little amount of rewards, and not even being able to get the opportunity to get 1 or 2 stars because you don't meet this 80 million GP. And that you might be missing out on quite a lot of stuff. So that's kind of where I am right now, but I see their point of view, that they kind of want this to be like, hey, you guys need to band together, get a plan together before you can enter into this event. But I don't know I personally think that you should be allowed to do the event, and if you aren't good at it, oh well, at least you're trying. It's not like you have to forfeit Hoth territory battles in exchange for Geonosis territory battles. They're both happening at the same time. So it's not like you're missing out on one or the other. And if you can do a little bit of Geonosis Territory Battles, maybe at least get 1 or 2 stars, that's better than not even getting the chance to try, get experience with it, and not getting any stars and no rewards as a result. So that's kind of where I stand right now. I'm curious what you guys think. Comment down below. Do you like that there's this kind of like ban in place for people under a certain height from not being able to participate in this event? I think I have an idea what you guys are going to think, but I'd love to hear you guys down below. Let's comment. Let's talk about this. I know the developers watch these videos and check out the comments, so be sure to leave your comments and your thoughts on this policy. Maybe it could change. Maybe they'll decide, hey, people still want a chance to try it. We're going to get rid of this ban. So guys, share your feedback. I think this is really important before we get territory battles in here for Geonosis. Another thing I think this might force people might be abandoning guilds. As a result of this might be a part of that realization event. If you think you're better than your guild, then maybe the game is encouraging you to seek out a better guild that's going to help you access this end game content. Because if you're a good player that's got a really good roster, just happen to be in a guild that's maybe not up to par to, because you just love them. You love the people. I understand that feeling. But if you're a really good player and you want to make sure you keep being competitive in Arena and Grand Arena, if you're not getting this gear that's tied to Geonosis Territory Battles, or new characters tied to Geonosis Territory Battles, you're going to be really far behind. So this policy, whether good or bad, you guys let me know down below. It's going to probably cause guilds to kind of shift and change their priorities and move to other guilds. We kind of see this every single time, for example, when a new raid comes out. Like the video, video if you did enjoy it. Comment down below and be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And we'll be talking again soon with that brand new Shock T character added to the game. Peace out, guys.